No. Oh, hello everybody. I thought I'd make a little video. I'm out here with my good friend Pablo, and I wanted to tell you it's just me and him out here at the moment. He's having a big drink, and I wanted to just talk to you really about the stresses and what it's like to actually run a dog sanctuary, because I get so many messages from people saying, I would love to come and help dogs. I would love to make that my life. And I'm not going to lie to you, it is the best life in the world. Looking after dogs is like nothing you could ever imagine. It's so fulfilling. I used to work in the corporate world like a lot of people do, and you know, a normal job, and although you love it at the time, it probably doesn't fulfill you massively. And I know a lot of people think like that. Pablo, we're just going to sit down here, mister. We're going to sit down here. Pablo's really hot. You can see he had his big, huge mass amputated from his behind, really, his ass, this week. And he's the first person I wanted to tell you about. You can also see he's massively overweight. And he was a very grumpy boy when he got here, Pablo, because obviously he was in so much pain, but he's softened up now. But the first thing about running a sanctuary is the levels of stress. We're going to sit here, mister. We're going to sit here. Have your drink of water. The levels of stress involved, so the vets told us, and Sybil, who told us, who helps us, was saying it was very, very risky. And it was, because he's very much overweight and he's a much older boy. And truth be told, I only found this out about 2 or 3 days. Sybil only told me after, so as not to worry me too much. Pablo's breathing got really shallow during the operation, and I don't know if he nearly died, but he certainly had a moment during the operation where the vets were really worried about him. And you can see from the sheer size of him. So that's a really hard thing to deal with, is telling his owners that he could die. So like, you've got to tell that in a different language, that it's going to be a very stressful situation for him. And then the fact that he could actually die. So we're all really worried about him during his operation. And now we have the added stress of, it's actually about 33, 34 degrees here, close to 100 degrees Fahrenheit with the humidity. What it feels like is about 40, 45 centigrade, 100 degrees Fahrenheit. And you can see Pablo's been drinking 3 times here already. So I can't explain to you how stressful it is we have about, I would say, 10 to 15 dogs at the moment in similar situations, hospitals, overweight, and I'll tell you about a couple that we lost later in the video, which is obviously the hardest part of this. So I don't want to make this a depressing video, it's far from it. I just want to explain some of the stresses and some of the sort of challenges that are involved with running a sanctuary where you look after animals. So Pablo is alive, but only just. He needs to lose some weight, which he's going to do, but he's actually doing an awful lot better. You can see how he is now. But he was biting, he was really snapping at us when you came in, weren't you, Mr. Grumpy? You were Mr. Grumpy when you arrived, and I'm not surprised given the size of the mass on him. Okay. On that note, Pablo's getting a bit hot. I'm going to go and put him back in, and I'm going to go and tell you about the stress of some other dogs that we have at the moment. The next arrivals, I needed to change location. Madness is about to arrive. Valeria is bringing over the 5 Spice Girls. So they're about to get fed at the moment, and you can see they're very excited. But looking after puppies is probably one of the hardest things. There's a lot of mess to clean up. They just are little eating machines. All they do is eat. So the 5 Spice Girls, basically I found them, a little boy handed them to me, which you saw in a previous video, which is great. We love saving 5 little girls' lives, but they've doubled in size. They're incredibly noisy, and they're just non-stop. They want to eat, they poop everywhere. They're, you know, I'll show you on the camera, we're getting different areas for them. First they were in the office, then in the night they have to move down to sort of a secure kennel, then in the daytime they go into a play area. So it's just like they're rotating non-stop. And now Zoe's over there, we're going to work on their adoptions very quickly, but we also have to get them vaccinated, we have to get them up to date on just everything. It's a massive job. They've got no mum. Like, they're literally 5 girls with no mum. So wonderful to, you know, isn't it lovely to just play with little puppies and, you know, cuddle them? I wish it was like that. I wish it was, you know, hanging around with the puppies all the time would be lovely, but it is incredibly hard. Obviously I'm not the only one who does it, everybody pitches in and helps them, but there was times at the weekend where I was looking after all the dogs here one of the days, and my god, I was like getting so angry at the puppies. I don't mind saying that. It was like you're dealing with Pablo, who's, you know, needs to walk slowly, then you need to maybe take out, who else was here at the weekend? Joy had her wounds, Essie was here very sick, she was, you know, dying, we now know. And then you've got the puppies screaming up there. So you have, I think we had 21 dogs at the weekend, all sick, all puppies, all, you know, Brittany needs special attention and care and walking. And my God, it's tough. It's really, really, really tough. I don't want to make this a video where I complain. I'm just trying to explain the reality of the ups and downs. So the good thing is that these puppies came along at a very good time, because we sadly had 2 dogs die at the weekend, which I'm going to tell you about now. But what the puppies do is there's sort of that circle of life where you have some dogs dying, which is, you know, phenomenally hard, and you have some dogs who are on the cusp of death, like Pablo. So the emotions are brutal. If I could, like, physically, it's tough enough, like you're up early and they're long days or whatever, but I think you can deal with that. It's emotionally, it is a roller coaster. You're going from one dog maybe dying, a dog does die, and then 5 puppies screaming everywhere. It's like, I don't know, I have so much respect for nurses and vets and doctors who I didn't, like, I'm none of the above, but I see now what they go through in terms of emotions. But luckily the puppies are a breath of fresh air. Now I'm going to take you and tell you about the 2 dogs we lost this week, which is obviously the most challenging part. Anybody who's ever lost a dog will know how tough it is, but now we're going to get the puppies back in for a sleep. After they have their milk, they definitely sleep. I'm going to go and tell you about Essie and another girl we lost this weekend. Now I've finished this video in Giuseppe's Memorial Garden. This is a really important part of what we do. Obviously saving dogs is, you know, amazing. That's what we love doing the most, and we get a lot of good results. Like this week I was saying we had 20 dogs that we had, and most of them were, you know, would have died, but we turned them around and, you know, saved a lot of lives. Billy's off getting his eyes fixed. Mario, you know, we saved him from a abuse case. Pablo would have been dead with that big lump on him. Sandy in the cave, etc, etc. Lots of wins, but the ones that really hurt are the losses. So we have 2 new graves here today. One is Essie, who was a girl that we helped last year with we had to amputate one of her legs because she had cancer in her legs, and we got 9 months out of her after that operation. She kind of went back to her family. They was healthy, but then she came in about 2 weeks ago, very, very ill, and she died. And it was a tough time. I took her up for the last day into my house to give her a bit of rest. But that's her, the white one just behind me. Jumbo is over there. Valentina is there, and they're all buried there, which is, you know, really important to us. I think it might not look like much, just a few flowers and a little bit of trees around the outside and some pebbles, etc. Could do with tidying that up a bit, which we will. But giving street dogs a send-off, I think, is so important. Little Essie sat up on my balcony. Mr. Hank was fantastic with her, absolutely fantastic. He just eased her in. It was kind of obvious that she was dying in the last day, and we were able to help her on her way. But the most important thing was giving her company. I've never heard Essie make many noises, for example, but I went to the shower one day and she started crying out, looking for attention, which I'd never heard her do, just as she was on her way, you know, on her last day. So it shows that dogs have emotion. So we were able to give her a really good send-off. But again, if you've ever had a dog die, which, you know, most of you probably have if you've had pets, it's hard. And just because they're street dogs doesn't really make it a lot easier, I'm not going to lie. So I've had probably 7 or 8 in the last 7 or 8 months, and they're all very hard. And the last one, we had another girl here. It was really, really sad. I don't share all the stories because it started sad and it just ended sad. It was a girl we brought in, massively overweight, diabetes, loads of problems, and she died about a day after she came in. So we're going to bring her in and, you know, get her. We're literally getting her to the vets, getting her to blood tests. All those sort of things had just started, and myself and Sybil went down into the play area to weigh her because we wanted to get an accurate reading, and she was dead. And she'd only come in 24 hours ago. And I took that really badly. I'm not going to lie. The last 2-3 days have been really bad because I blamed myself, and she would have died on the streets, you know, very soon. But obviously the heat and the stress of bringing her here possibly made her die. And of course we did everything and we're trying to improve her life, but it's still a dog dying, and that's really, really, really hard to take when you have 2 in 48 hours, and especially one where, look, I know it's probably not my fault, but you think everything through. You're like, oh my God, should I have kept her in the air conditioning? Should I have not moved her? Should we have got her, you know, to a vet's immediately? But she just was very overweight and her heart was under too much pressure, and she didn't make it. But very, very hard to take. So look, I don't want this to be a sad video. I think the thing to take away is that there's, you know, we help so many dogs, but I just wanted it to be an honest video. And I looked at myself in the mirror this morning, I was like, my God, you're tired. You got to make a YouTube video. Do you go out and, you know, paint the rosy picture, everything is amazing? Or do you just tell the truth of what it's like saving dogs? And I wanted to tell the truth. It's tough for the health, tough for the mental health, tough for, you've got to find unbelievable levels of determination to keep going sometimes, because the knocks come really thick and fast. But what helped me this week was actually, after I had those knocks, people pick up on it, and all the owners and different people sent me videos. McMuffin, Liam Gallagher's wife, my WhatsApp lit up of dogs in their forever homes that we'd saved here, and a few people sent me messages from here with dogs that we'd saved, etc. And that just makes it worth it. But it's a hard gig sometimes, I'm not going to lie. So yeah, don't want to make it a depressing video, but I just wanted to sort of show the emotional decisions that go in, from Pablo to puppies to dogs dying. It's not all a bed of roses, and I don't always share the you know, I don't want to make people sad every day with seeing abuse cases. I try and keep it as light and upbeat as possible. But this week's been tough, and I might as well be honest with that. So thanks for watching. If anybody is still watching at this stage, I'd be surprised. But if you could hit the subscribe button, it would be a massive help. There's P. Wood down making the Remembrance Garden look absolutely stunning, which is just as important. Some lovely dogs, although they've died, they've had a nice, graceful send-off with dignity. Have a lovely week, everybody.